Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another caderno da Nicia, aka Nicia's notebook. If you are new here, my name is Nicia and you should hit that subscribe button down below. And if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. So today on my notebook, I'm going to be talking about godly separation versus personal isolation. And I wanted to bring this to my channel just because this is something that I used to be really bad about, and something that I'm definitely getting better on. So I feel like I can come on here and just kind of talk about it. So as usual on my channel, I like talking about, personal experiences, and then I like going into the word. So I'll just start off by saying, usually whenever things are going really rough in my life, when I'm not getting my way, or when I don't have discernment or knowledge or understanding about the season I'm in or what's happening around me, I like to just retract. And the number one thing that I like retract from is people, is my godly fellowship, godly community that I have around, that God has definitely blessed me with. I just like kind of taking a back seat. So like I'll literally go ghost for like 2 weeks, and in that time, personally in my head, I'm thinking that I am just taking time out to just focus on myself, to just recharge myself, to just replenish myself, to get myself together, and everyone needs to back up while I do that. And in my head, that's what I think that I'm doing, but in reality, what I'm really doing is I'm spending more time alone doing non-productive things. So I'm not in my word, I'm not listening to a sermon. I'm most likely on Netflix. I'm on Twitter a lot more, just talking about God knows what. That makes no type of sense, because sometimes Twitter is like literally a diary that should not be a diary. And and then people during this time, especially my friends, like to hit me up, and I just get so frustrated. Like, why are you hitting me up when I'm not trying to be hit up? Like, I want to do this by myself. Like, leave me alone. And that's where I go wrong, because then I just get deeper into this hole of feeling like I'm lonely, like nobody understands, like I'm more confused than I was before I even decided to just be alone. And that is exactly what personal isolation is. Like, God does not call people to put themselves in a place where they are isolated. In Proverbs 18:1, it actually says, whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all judgment, which actually makes sense, because like 30 seconds ago, I was just talking about I want to do this. I want to replenish myself. I want to make myself feel better. I want to recharge myself. I want to figure out what's going on. And the truth of the matter is that there's only so much that I can do without God stepping in and intervening. So now I'm going to be talking about just two different stories in the Bible where two people were called into godly separation and what exactly they got out of that. So the first story I'm going to be talking about is in 1 Kings 17, and it's basically the story of Elijah. So God called Elijah to go to, God told Elijah that there was going to be a drought in the city that he was in, or in the land, and God called him to go to the brook of Cherith. So something really cool, fun fact, the word Cherith actually means a separation or a cutting. So essentially God was calling Elijah to go to the place of separation. When God called him to go to that place of separation, in that place of separation, God was sustaining him, meaning God was delivering food for him in the morning and in the night. Because it was a brook, he obviously already had water there with him. He was also sheltered because in the place that he was at previously, there was a drought there. Then he sent him to the place of separation, and there was still water in that place. Even when the brook of Cherith ran out and there was like no more water in that brook, he sent him to this other place. And in that other place, God placed this woman there who sheltered Elijah, gave food to Elijah. So basically wherever it was that God was guiding Elijah, God was also providing for Elijah. So two things that I grabbed out of that story is that in this place of separation, God will always sustain you. In this place of separation where he guides, he will always provide. There is nothing that you're going to be missing whenever you are in that place of separation, especially because God placed you there. And on top of that, I also just feel like it's a testament to how God protects, you know. Everywhere that he went, he was protected. There was nothing that he was missing. There was no danger that was coming for him, because in the place of separation, you most likely are being protected against something that is going to happen, or something that God is trying to shield you from. The second story in the Bible is in Exodus 34 verses 29 through 30, and this is basically the story about Elijah coming down from Mount Sinai after he's had his personal time with God. As he's coming down, he has the tablets of the 10 Commandments, and his face is just radiating. In verse 30, it talks about how Aaron was looking at his face radiating, and the people around him were just scared to look at his face. And I'm thinking it's because his face was just so bright, because he had come down from being in the presence of God, right? And so something that I got out of that story was that whenever you leave the presence of God, or in that place of separation, transformation will occur. And that transformation, we might not notice it while we are quote unquote suffering in that place of separation, but others will notice. The Bible also says that by your fruits you will know them. And I'm truly convinced that whenever we come out of this separation season that God has placed us in, there's this transformation that other people can see, whether that's the way that we talk, the way that we dress, the way that we walk now. Something is just a little different. And other believers, or even maybe non-believers, can just see like, why is she so different? Like, she's glowing. And another thing that I also got from that story was the fact that in that place of separation, you will always get exactly what you need. So in Moses' case, he came down with the tablets of the 10 Commandments. And in our case, that might be, we're needing peace, we're needing assurance, we're needing a confirmation, we're needing a sign. Whatever it is that may be, in that place of godly separation, you will attain that. So basically, I'm just gonna name the differences of the two. So in godly separation, he will sustain you in the place of separation. You will attain something, like you will always leave with something that you are needing from that place of separation. A transformation will occur in that place of separation. A protection and a shielding will occur in that place of separation. And I truly honestly think that wisdom and more understanding of God and of yourself you will attain whenever you are in godly separation. You won't ever leave empty whenever that season is over, or whenever that time of separation is over. Whereas personal isolation is like the complete opposite. You're going to feel confused. You are going to feel out of peace. It's almost going to be an endless cycle. It's like you're trying to sustain yourself in this personal isolation, and you're trying to figure things out by yourself. But like I said earlier, there's only so much we can physically do, and we need the Spirit to come in and do the rest. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a cycle of you put yourself in this like little isolating bubble, and you like block out everything and everybody else, and then you feel like you're okay, and then 2 weeks, a month, 2 months later, 2 days later, you're going to feel like you need to go right back into that place. It's because literally like we cannot sustain ourselves. It's because literally we can only do so much, not by power, not by might, but it's by your spirit, God. By your spirit, God. Yeah, so I say this to just basically talk about the differences, and I don't want you guys to think that I'm talking about not taking self-care days, self-care weeks, whatever it may be, to cater to yourself. You know, if you obviously see that there's something wrong, I want you guys to take that step back, to evaluate, you know, to keep yourself accountable to the things that you're doing or the things that you're feeling, and to just take a step back and just realize it. But I guess what I'm trying to like talk about is the fact that like there's nothing wrong with taking a self-care day and just taking a step back from a situation, but it's like, what are you doing when you're taking a step back from the situation? You know what I mean? So like, I know that like my self-care days, I'm very idle. Like, I don't do much. Like, self-care to me is laying in bed and not doing anything for days. Self-care to me is binge watching on Netflix. Self-care to me is online shopping and spending money that I don't have on things that I do not need at that time, you know? So like, I'm not necessarily doing anything that's going to sustain me in the long run. Like, that's a temporary feeling that I'm doing for that moment, which is why I understand, like, maybe you're having a bad day and you need to take a self-care day, but in the long run, like that shirt, that foundation that you just bought, that iPhone that you just bought when you don't have iPhone money like that, like, that's not going to sustain you. Like, you are not going to feel fulfilled by the things of this world. So it's kind of like when you need to take a step back, what I feel like as Christians we should do is ask the Holy Spirit to replenish us. Ask the Holy Spirit, do I even need to take a big step back, that I'm taking this big step back? Like, do I really need that? Or do I just need to be in your presence for like an hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, 5 minutes, and I'll be good? You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to make this video for anybody who is like me, and I just sucked at dealing with what I was dealing with, because well, I'm just gonna keep it honest with you. I am heavily involved in my church. I'm involved in ministry, and a lot of the times, like, things just got really overwhelming, and I just took a step back. But it's like, I'm taking a step back, but like, so many other people need me. And that's not to say that whenever you're in ministry you can't take a step back, but you can't help people and you can't minister to people or just give your all to people when you're empty. And that's when you do need to take a step back. But make sure that it is godly separation and not personal isolation, because the Bible doesn't even call us to be isolated. The Bible calls us to be separate from the world, which is like so different from us being separated from our godly fellowship. So that concludes this week's video of Nicia's notebook. I hope you guys took something out of it. I hope you guys learned something from it. And if there's like any topics that you guys want me to go through, study on, whatever, let me know down in the comments below. Shoot me a DM on my Twitter. Shoot me a DM on my Instagram, which is also in the description box below. And I will see you guys later.